going on with this extreme heat in the Pacific Northwest and how a simple fan hack could keep you much cooler this summer. Hey everyone, I'm Ariane Till with this week's episode of your fact-checking show, Verify. This episode is all about extreme heat. Yo, I put on like 3 layers of deodorant this morning and it might be time for 4. But first, let's break down this hot button issue. The Pacific Northwest is experiencing record high temperatures, like in the 100s hot. And those temps are dangerous anywhere, but they're particularly damaging in a part of the country that's not really prepared for that kind of heat. Seattle set an all-time temperature record at 108 degrees, while Portland made history when temps there reached 116. According to the National Weather Service, recent temperatures are more than 30 degrees higher than average throughout Washington and north central Oregon. In that kind of heat, I'd need like 10 of these bad boys. Maybe 20. So what's causing this unprecedented heat? Well, it's a weather event known as a heat dome, and it's trapping stifling air above this region. Here's Sacramento meteorologist Rob Carlmark describing how high pressure in the atmosphere creates a bubble of hot air.
So you can imagine all this air above us, well, it's sinking down. As it sinks down, it compresses. Think of a bicycle pump. All that air through a tiny little nozzle, that is compression. It's the same thing with high pressure. It compresses down to the ground. Unfortunately, we're the end of the line.
How often does this happen?
We think this is roughly a 1 in 1,000 year event, if not a longer time frame. The thing that worries me the most about this heat wave is that we could see it again, and it could be hotter.
Okay, now that we understand the science behind these heat waves, let's take a look at the danger these extreme heat events present. One tweet from the United Farm Workers claims, quote, "Heat is the leading weather-related killer." So let's verify. Is heat historically the leading weather-related killer in the US? The answer is yes, based on the total number of deaths over time. For this Verify, our sources are the CDC and National Weather Service. The CDC tracks heat-related deaths in the United States. They say around 618 people are killed by extreme heat every year. That's more than 6 times the second leading weather killer, which the CDC says is flooding. And floods account for about 98 deaths per year. Although the CDC is the official government source on this topic, the National Weather Service also tracks weather-related deaths, and their data tells the same story. The Weather Service says over the past 30 years, heat is responsible for the most deaths, followed by flooding and tornadoes. Now, unfortunately, it appears that extreme heat may be more common moving forward, and that's because of our warming climate. The CDC expects extreme heat events to, quote, become more common, more severe, and longer lasting as our climate changes. Guys, clearly this kind of heat is dangerous and it should be taken seriously. So make sure you stay hydrated, you checked on your loved ones and your neighbors, and just see how they're doing, because we're all in this together. Speaking of staying cool, let's take a look at this tweet. It says people should make sure their ceiling fans are spinning counterclockwise in order to create a cooling effect. And all this time, I just thought, you hit the little button, you pulled the little string, and you kept it moving. So let's get to the bottom of this. Does spinning a ceiling fan in a counterclockwise direction create a cooling effect? We can verify, yes, this is true. Energy Star and Home Depot both say ceiling fans should spin in a counterclockwise direction in the summer. That's because the counterclockwise rotation creates a wind chill effect. So while it doesn't actually cool down the room, that wind chill effect helps us feel cooled down. So let's check back in with meteorologist Rob Carlmark.
And the number one thing to remember about a fan is that it only works when you're in the room. It only works because it's cooling off your body. If you turn on the fan and you leave for the afternoon thinking that that's free air conditioning or cheaper air conditioning, it just doesn't work that way. In fact, because it uses an electric motor, it's actually creating heat versus helping you out.
Not only can that ceiling fan provide some necessary relief, but can also save you some money on your air conditioning bill. Oh, so now I got your attention? Okay, here's the tea. With your ceiling fan spinning counterclockwise, you don't have to set your thermostat so low. So when you're home, you can just kick back, enjoy the comfortable breeze, and think about all the ways you can spend that extra cash. Oh, and hot tip, come wintertime, that fan should spin clockwise and run at the lowest speed. Now, while making this video, I realized I don't actually have a ceiling fan. But if you do, let me know if these tips work for you. I'm Ariane Till, and I'll catch you next week for another episode of Verify. Have a question for our team? Shoot us a text at 202-410-8808. You can also subscribe to our daily newsletter at verifythis.com and follow us on social media while you're at it, at verifythis. You should also subscribe. Click that button. subscribe.